So today on Streaming Idiots, yeah, my mind is blown. So many projects going on here in the studio. I mean, on the workbench actually, and some in the studio too. But I want to tell you about them. But we'll get to it here in just a second. Coming up in just a few minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, testing. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a cutie. He just showed up in my text with his school pictures. What is going on? Okay, sorry about that. Distracted. Yes. Too much is too much. It is. Welcome, Jesper. Welcome, Gunner. Glad to have you here. Thinking, brain is just fried. Too much going on. But it's good. It's good stuff. Definitely good stuff. Personally, I am doing some physical therapy, trying to recover from surgery I had a year ago that left my bikini body just in horrible condition. I mean, gee whiz. So, yeah, there's that. And then tomorrow, having a medical procedure to examine the area that was surgified a year later and make sure everything was connected right, not twisted or, yeah. So those are laying in the back of my mind. And then I've got 2 repair projects. Well, one of them I've finished. And then 4 PCs to build. And then, yeah, it's good. We're good. That's right, Michael. And I have an email from Michael Graves. I mean, or is it a text message? Or is it a Facebook message? Who the heck knows? Welcome, Michael Graves. Welcome, Otis. Glad to have you guys. Indeed. Have we got, we've got just a few seconds left. One of the projects that I am not working on right now, but I have worked on, and I expect to work on a bunch more, involves this little guy right here. And he is a cute little case, In fact, I think I have one out on the desktop. Let's see if I can navigate a camera to it. It's a real live picture, but you know, what good is a real live picture? Yeah, it doesn't really show much. It's not at a good angle. But that is the same. It's the same color, the same bright yellow. This is the side that obviously has the tempered glass on it. And size-wise, you know, you can tell that I didn't have time to put the handle on that one before we started the show. But you can see, size-wise, it's not very big. It does not take a full-size motherboard. It takes a micro. Is it a micro or a mini? I think it's a micro. I always get those confused. Anyway, it's the motherboard that ends with the M that has the 4 slots instead of 7, but it's not the teeny one that only has the 1 slot. Yeah, you can see the 4 slots right there. So there are the slots. And one of the things I love about it, it's got room for a 240 millimeter liquid cooler for the CPU. So dual radiators. So you can make that guy sing. You know, you can put an i9 in him and away you'd go. With NDI or OMT, or, you know, if we can get the right video, the right motherboard, you could even do 8 camera SDI on that. Little sucker, but shoosh, a lot of bang for the buck. And it's super portable. Yes. Yes. Otis wants to know if I am on coffee. Actually, Otis, I am on, well, that's probably part of it, you know, not coffee, but I've got this procedure tomorrow, so I'm supposed to be fasting after lunch yesterday, all day today, and up until the procedure tomorrow. So I haven't had anything to eat except chicken broth, Jell-O, and clear soda, in this case a Sprite, which I realize, you know, the Jell-O and the Sprite are just chock full of sugar, so I'm probably just on a sugar buzz. But truth be told, I'm probably like this all the time. Yeah. So anyway, really excited about this project. It's going to be fun. If we can ever get the website done, that'll be on the website. And then, of course, we've got, let's see if we can go back to this guy right here. This one is a work in progress. I'm just trying to get the PTZ pointed in the right direction here. This guy is a work in progress. I buy the cases from a company called Sliger out in Utah. And you can see the little red part over to the right. That is an interchangeable front cover. So we can get whatever cover we want and configure it however we want. But also notice, just to the left of that front cover, a 360 millimeter radiator for the liquid cooling. And yeah, it's sweet, and it lays out nicely, and there's a lot of airflow. And golly gee, I'm excited about it. I am excited about that. And as if that wasn't enough, yes, hold on, let me move the camera over to the other one. I've got them laid out so that you can see them. We've got a little 2U version of the same thing. Again, the mini card, so it's not going to have seven PCIe slots, but it will have enough slots for a 4-port capture card and enough CPU horsepower for certainly an i7. Does that one have liquid? No. I think I've been trying to find liquid cooling for that low profile and have struggled to find one that I think meets the specs that we need. So there we go. What the heck? Let's start the show. Welcome to Streaming Idiots. Did you know you could be a streaming idiot too? Yeah. If you're on Facebook, send a request to the Streaming Idiots Facebook group and we'll add you to the group and you can chat about. Yeah, it can be a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun. So what's going on? Too much is too much, right? Got a lot of projects going on here in the studio and the workshop. Right now we're building 4 PCs for the same client. It's actually a sign company that'll use our PCs to do instant replay on the scoreboards that they build that are essentially just resized video billboards. And they put them in the end zone and on the walls and gyms and places like that, hang them from the center of the ice like a jumbotron. For hockey, but we build the instant replay part, of course, using vMix. And is vMix instant replay just getting better and better and better? It's really a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to deal with it. And in providing tech support and training to folks that are using that, and even though it's remote and I can't see them and they can't see me, I can just see the light bulbs going off in their heads. You know, if I can do this, I can do this. If I can do that, I can do this other thing. And it's so much fun to teach that. I really, really enjoy that. But we've got the 4 PCs that we've got under construction. Well, actually only 2 of them right now because I don't have enough space. We just finished up a repair of a system for a church up in Pennsylvania that is, unfortunately, was just out of warranty, several months. But it was a sort of a third-party deal, where the church didn't buy it directly from us. They bought it from a third party. So the third party's paying all the bills. And just got in yesterday a laptop that we sold to a client 2 years ago. Well, maybe a year ago. Maybe a year and a half. We'll cheat and say a year and a half. And they've struggled to get everything set up on it, and we've done a lot with them remotely, and finally, just send it back. If we have to diddle around with the BIOS a lot to get things straight, I have a feeling maybe somebody else did too, then we need it right here. So we've got it here, but they shipped it 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and I waited for it, and I said, guys, the tracking, send me the tracking. They send me the tracking. So the tracking, this system is not moving. In fact, this system hasn't moved since a label was made for it at the UPS store. You need to check into that. It may be lost. And a day or so later, I get the message back, yes, we checked in, it's lost. I was like, oh, golly. Well, I don't have any laptops on hand, and I'll see if I can help you find the right one for the job. And we've been back and forth on that a few times. And then I got a notice last week that they found it, and that it's on its way. So it arrived yesterday, and I'll crack it open, take a look, find a workspace for it, and we'll take a look and delve into that. One of the things that wasn't working was the Thunderbolt port wasn't talking to the box that they have with it that has a 4-port, I think it's SDI capture card in it. Yeah, it's a Blackmagic, so it's probably SDI, and they just wouldn't talk. They could kind of see each other, but they couldn't kind of. And I said, okay, send it back. Let's take a look. We'll get that worked out. If we've got to do something with the BIOS, we won't ask you to do that remotely, because how would I know what to look for? Yeah, it's not like clicking and you're doing it by yourself. And I was going to tell you about a tech support call that I had earlier, but it'll come back to me. Oh, I know. No, that was a different one. Anyway, it'll come back. It's craziness. Can you tell? It's craziness. It's good. It's good craziness. It's October, and I can't really point to why it's craziness. Schools have been back in for a couple of months. It's not. Did a new physical budget season start for somebody somewhere? But that doesn't explain all of this. But hey, today we are using the vMix beta 29.0.0.33, and we're cruising along at 2 millisecond render times. GPU memory is 1, but I'm using the GeForce RTX 5070 Ti. So it's got, and with the resizable bar enabled, so it's got all the memory that thing's got in it. I think it's got 16, 18 gigabytes, something like that. So there's no issue there. We're streaming at 1080p 5994 using that AV1 codec. So we're coming to YouTube with that. So this is 1080p 5994. It's streaming at 8 megabits per second, something like that. And I remember, what was it? We did a test a while back when the AV1 first came out to sort of see how slow you could go and still get a good picture. And I think 6 megs was about the lowest we went. And I noticed a little screen tearing or glitching with that, and so we bumped it up to 8. But no, we were seeing tearing at 4. So for the show here, we bumped it up to 8. But we did do that 1 year test where we did 4K 60, and that was a lot of fun. But I think we had to stream that one at 14 or 16 or something like that. I've only got 20 up, so it's not like I've got a ton of room to play with. It's funny because I've got, hello Ed, welcome, glad to have you. I've got, 500 at home. 500 up, 500 down. Hardly fair, but I just can't get it into this location here. Well, I could, but they said it would cost $20,000 to run the fiber here. I said, I don't think I'm going to pick up the tab for that one. The building I share, I don't share offices, of course, but we share the roof and the walls with 2 beauty parlors and an office and a vacant place. It used to be where we had the dance studio next door. And they were sweet not to do any dancing at 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoons. But they started back at, like 3:45 or something like that. It was something. One of the things I've been struggling with lately, and maybe you can help me, is, here's the scenario. I built a system for a customer, and they were like, yeah, we want it, yeah, we want it, yeah, we want it. We just need to work out our financing and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and build it. I'll get it ready. And when you guys get your financial stuff in order and can send me a check, I'll ship it to you. Well, they ghosted me, and I guess it didn't work out. So I've got the system built that is not to my normal spec. Normally I'll use, for example, on the SSD, I'll use a 250 gig for the main drive. Fast 250 gig for the main drive, but don't put anything else on it. It's just intended there to put software and OS on it. And then we'll have a terabyte drive or bigger for a recording drive. Well, they wanted a terabyte as the main drive, and then they wanted a 6 terabyte hard drive as the second drive. Okay, that's not something I normally work with, but we'll do that. So they wanted a 4-port, or was it a 2-port? Let's call it a 2-port serial I/O card, which we, again, don't normally do that kind of stuff. That's okay, not a problem, happy to help. But they were going to run vMix on it. So we got vMix, I think 4K, and it was all set to go, had Windows all set to go. I mean, everything was set to go. It was wrapped up and ready to be boxed up to be shipped. And then crickets. And I waited, and I emailed back and forth. It was like, okay, well, this, and this, we got it ready, and, just let me know, and just checking in and let me know, and, here I am again, and let me know, and finally realized they were not going to respond. I guess I could have called, but I really didn't want to embarrass them. So I left it in the box right over there. And got an order for 4 boxes from a regular customer, 4 systems, vMix Pro, with 4-port Blackmagic SDI capture card and a Blackmagic mini monitor output card. Not anything that this PC was equipped with, but I said, okay, we'll just retrofit it. Oh, and here's the other thing: it used a different motherboard, but everything else in the case was set up. The cooler, all the power supply lines, everything was zip tied in and just fit beautifully. All I had to do was pop the motherboard out, pop a new motherboard in. But here's where the problem came. I thought, okay, well, I've got this 1 terabyte solid state drive as the main drive. I need to put a 250 in there, and maybe I can clone the 1 terabyte to the 250. And I was using CloneZilla, and something was amiss. I never did figure it out. You can play with the partition size, and it'll smash it down smaller if it needs to. But for some reason that wasn't working. Hey, John, glad to have you back in the Caribbean where it's safe, right? Couldn't get it to work. I said, okay, well, I'll just take a 250 and put Windows on it, and then use the same license key because I've already paid for it. I'm not going to use it on the terabyte. I'll use the same license key. Well, it used to be that you could do that if you had a hardware change. They would let you reactivate it under the same license number with a motherboard change or CPU change or something like that. And I went round and round and round with that, and finally, called. You can actually call Microsoft. Called Microsoft, and they said, well, you can't really do that anymore as such. And they said, they really wanted me just to buy a new license. And I said, okay, so I'm going to try some more. I'm going to try some more and clone different ways or do different things. And I probably spent 6 hours trying to do this, and not all at once, a little bit here and a little bit there. And just finally, last night, I realized, I've got more in this hour-wise than it would be for me just to buy the license and get on with it. So, buying the license and getting on with it. Oh, but in the meantime, I accidentally? No, I think it was on purpose, but it was just a mistake. I have a 250 solid state drive that I use to clone from, and it's set up for a particular motherboard, for a particular CPU, GPU, RAM setup, and particular vMix setup. So it's practically ready to go. Kudos to Dave Edwards for pushing me forward on that one. And somehow I didn't damage it. I think I accidentally cloned to it. Anyway, it got in the situation where it thought it had a license key on it, and it rejected it. I was like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? I'm normally a pretty smart guy, but I guess with all this stuff going on. Anyway, so I said, all right, bite the bullet. We're going to go back to scratch. We're going to rebuild our clone master drive. We're going to get everything the way we want it on that one, and then we'll begin to duplicate it again on the others. And so that's where I am. And I think, well, it wasn't supposed to go off because I told the screen not to go off, but something turned the screen off. It's right there. Working on that one, trying to get it ready to go as a clone master, so that I can clone 3 more, or actually 4, because I've got to clone one for that one too. But it has been, in some ways, despite the fact that it's been full of failures, it's been a fun project because I've learned a lot. It's like Thomas Edison would tell you, 999 ways not to build a light bulb. Well, I've got all that experience right here. It's not 999 ways, but it's enough. It's enough to know. Oh, and at one point, Yeah, never mind. That I don't want to get down into the nitty gritty with it, because the nitty gritty is pretty nitty. Yeah, it is. It is. Switch subjects just a second. My good friend Byron was telling me about the new version of the Hollyland Lark Max, called the Lark Max 2. There they go. Hey, Rick, long time no see. Indeed. Indeed. And the Lark Max 2 from Hollyland is this mic. Can you? Well, you can't really see it. Right there. Right there. Yep. And it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Apparently, it's about the same price, and it's the same format. That is, it comes in a little travel case, and the travel case is also the charger, which has a battery built into it. So it's got mic 1 and mic 2, and then a receiver. And you can see by the little lights on there that I've got 3 out of 4 lights on the battery. And the receiver just plugs in USB-C to my PC, and vMix recognizes it easily as a wireless mic. The new version, the Lark Max 2, apparently also comes with a pair of earbuds so that you can hear yourself. And can you hear more than yourself? That might end up being, yes. And it also has a teeny little receiver that will fit in your cell phone. So it'll sit right here instead of dangling a receiver off your cell phone. Hollyland Lark Max 2. The question I have is, that might, boy, 10 thoughts just hit my mouth all at the same time. Has that ever happened to you? And only one of them could get through, and it was probably the wrong one. Imagining a scenario where you have a reporter in the field, or or a reporter at a sporting event, and that person wants to go down on the field and do the post-game interview with the coach, or is interviewing somebody on the street or something like that, and is using vMix Call to transfer the video up to the vMix PC, and is using the mic right down there, and then the earbud to be able to hear from the booth. So this might make a great little combination for that. I don't know that I want to buy one just to find it, but if anybody's got one and can answer that question about how the earbud works in regard, because apparently the earbud is wireless and will receive, does it connect to the mic, or does it connect? I think it connects directly to the receiver, which makes the receiver a transmitter now. Or is it just hearing your own voice? We'll have to find out. That could be a great solution for a lot of folks. Paul's here, and he says, late to the game, how do these compare with the DJI Wireless 2 mics? I have no clue, Paul. Don't have them. Would have to know what the feature set is on the DJI. I mean, DJI, of course, is known for wireless mics, but they're also known for drones. Ed says his ADD is rampant today also. You think I have ADD? Nah. Anyway, so that's something I want to find out. That's on my list of things to find out, because I think that's pretty cool technology. Also was not introduced, but asked about a new technology that is using AI and, what was it? It was a baseball installation where they had like 8 cameras, and they were using AI to switch the cameras and to do the replay and to do automatic stats for the whole game. That sounds amazing, and I want to know some more about that. Not that I would ever do anything with it, because I don't think it uses vMix. I think it's more like the Pixelot kind of AI type stuff. Yeah. So that's on my list of things to do. You can see just a little, maybe I do have ADD. It's just that little hamster is just spinning in my head today. What can I say? All right, John's got a question. He says his monitor freezes, the computer doesn't shut down or restart, but all the programs close, and he has to reopen the programs, and it does it about every 4 or 5 days. The monitor freezes, so the programs are frozen. But you don't have to restart the PC to do that. You just have to restart the programs. So the monitor freezes and the programs close, and you have to reopen. Well, I need more information. Ed says someday we might all compare our mini mics. Well, there we go. We can have a mini mic shootout. Michael Graves says, sounds like a memory leak. You talking about on John or on me? or Ed? Yep, John, we need some more info. And then 1,000 questions like, when was the last time you updated Windows, and what software is running when this happens? Is it always the same software, or is it other software? He said that's all the info he has. Okay. Well, let's talk some more about it off show. Ed says he resembles that remark. There you go. If you're watching this show and you're not in the chat right now, that's what I'm replying with, is to the chat. Can we do a screen grab on the chat here somewhere? Full screens. Yeah, there's the chat. You can't really see it because it's kind of small, but that's the vMix social version that allows you to see all that. Yeah. Okay. Well, isn't this wonderful? All of us just here. Yes. Yes, John. Michael said it might be a memory leak. Ed said they have the same problem with their TriCaster. It'd be good to find out what causes this. Well, John's PC, I think if he's talking about the PC, I think he's talking about is one that we built and sent to him. Actually, we built 2 for him, so I'm not sure which of those 2 it is. But if there is a problem and it's under warranty, we've got you covered. Even if it's not under warranty, we've got you covered. The trick is going to be to try to diagnose it, because he's down in the Caribbean, and it would be more painful than normal to ship it back here. But we can probably do it remotely. And Michael says in the chat, whenever I hear about apps closing after a long time running, I think resource exhaustion. There you go. There you go. And I guess if you're using it like a 24/7 TV station or radio station, that could be an issue. It certainly could. And Ed says in the chat, let's just switch to the post show so I can post this stuff and I don't have to read it to you. I mean, really. Can we do that? We'll do the outro and then we'll come back. There we go. Here we are. All right, there we go. So Michael Graves' thing, whenever I hear about apps closing after a long time running, I think about resource exhaustion. And John says, and this is the key part, right, is it's a TV station. There you go. Aha. Ed says, I need to do a service call. But I wouldn't have the parts I needed. I could bring everything. Yeah, so a memory leak, if my memory hasn't leaked out about this, and Michael, please chime in on that. A memory leak is not it's not a RAM chip that's gone bad and is leaking memory out onto the motherboard. It's typically not a motherboard problem where the motherboard is leaking its RAM. Typically, it is a software problem with a particular app, and look at that, nice. Maybe January, February, John, when it's just ice cold here, would be a good time to come. But there are some programs, and there was a time when, under certain conditions, vMix had a memory leak, and I remember Martin Sinclair was all over that and fixed it, ASAP. That was years ago, but a memory leak can really send you down if you are doing something 24/7. The PC here in my studio runs 24/7, and sometimes things are running and sometimes they aren't, but we've never had problems with anything shutting down in any way. All right, Michael says, an app consuming ever more memory until the system suffers. So this is a software issue, probably, as Michael says, an app. So John, I would say right off the top of my head, and Michael, please chime in, that you would want to pinpoint which software is running when this happens, if it's more than one piece, or if it's the same several pieces every time, and then check with those software manufacturers and see if there is an update. Because if you don't know which one it is, you don't want to blame. You don't want to blame all of them, or you don't want to blame the wrong one. For example, I had somebody call me the other day that was still using vMix 24, and they were suffering some difficulties, and I said, tough to troubleshoot something that's several years old and not available now, but why not spend $60 and update your vMix license so that you can get vMix 28? And they said, okay. And then they called me back and they said, all our problems went away when we did that. So there was some incompatibility at some point. The thing that is running is vMix. Well, there you go. Is that the only thing running? No other apps are running in the background, like maybe TeamViewer or anything like that? Michael suggests using the task manager to track memory use over time. And that would tell you who is using what. Let's see if we can fire that up real quick here. So here's task manager somewhere. Yeah, there's task manager. Let me blow that up a little bit so that you can see it more easily. We'll sharpen it and we will zoom it. Okay, and you can see here memory, who's using what, and actually I can click this memory tab right here and it'll put it in order of who is using the most memory. Okay, vMix is using 2%, 8%. It kind of varies. And we can do the drop down here and say, okay, we just got the one vMix running here, but with Google, we got a bunch of Googles running. I don't have that many windows open, but for some reason there's a lot running. And then Dropbox, got a lot of Dropboxes, only one of them running, but they're taking up memory. NVIDIA's got 2. Yep. Yep, everything wants a little piece of me here. But, and I'd say, John, you know, it could be the thing that you could, you know, take a picture of it so that you know what Task Manager looked like. Come in the next day and take another picture. Come in the next day and take another picture. And the memory would continue to advance. You notice how it changes, you know, here it's dynamic. But if there's a leak, it'll continue to advance even before it shuts down systems. And then when, as Michael says, when it exhausts all the other resources, then it'll shut down. But if it shuts down, and let's say if it shuts down in 3 days, you know, check it after 1 day, check it after 2 days, and see what is using that memory, because something is gobbling it up. And yeah, thank you, Michael. Always nice to have him around. Welcome, Cinco. Glad to have you. The Netherlands, one of my favorite places. John says, only vMix. Michael says, Task Manager, when you use the Performance tab. All right, so let's do that. So we'll find Performance. There's Performance right there. We'll go to Memory right there. And there's the graph. And if there's a spike in it, it tells you where the spike is. It doesn't. This is only 60 seconds right here. But it will tell you if all of a sudden your memory goes from here to here to here. But the nice thing about the processes is that it will tell you which of your processes is using memory. And John, my guess would be if you went to Task Manager and went to Processes, you would find more than just vMix running here. You would probably find Chrome, FFmpeg, anti-malware, you know, NVIDIA, TeamViewer, Task Manager, NDI Helper. I mean, a lot of this stuff runs every time you turn your PC on. So it's possible, you know, we're going through the list of all the ones that are running for me right now. And golly gee, that's a long list. What if we did all? Does it tell us how many there are? No. Not that helpful. All right. Nope. Thought I was back to the top. There we go. Back there. So great advice from Michael and from Tom. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hope it makes a difference somewhere, somehow, so that you can get it fixed. If not, give me a shout. Give me a shout. We will help you work it out. Well, oh, Tommy's got a question. Welcome, Tommy Willis. How do you hide the porn sites? Well, I don't know. I don't think I have that problem. Let me go back to Task Manager and look. Is there something out there that looks like I have a porn problem? I'm looking. TeamViewer, that could be porn. A spooler. Anti-malware. Oh, a service host. Well, there you go, Tommy, right there. Look at all those service hosts. You never know. You never know. Oh, that's funny. There you go, a Sharpie. I always keep a Sharpie handy, for sure. Ed says, Tom, how do you keep up with the latest changes with NVIDIA software rollout? You're talking about drivers, Ed. If you're talking about drivers, I don't. NVIDIA puts out a driver every time somebody sneezes somewhere in the world that's gaming. I'm convinced. And I think, for example, let's just be fun, and let's look at Device Manager on my computer, and we'll see the last time I did anything. And let's just go right here. And I'm going to go to Display Adapters. It's a 4070, not a 5070, excuse me. We're going to go to Properties. We're going to go to Driver. And Windows does the drivers funky, but you can see the date right there. May 14th was the last time that I or somebody put this driver in. And the driver number is really those numbers right there. So this is version 576.52. And if we went to NVIDIA drivers, GeForce drivers, let me make this screen back where it should be. There we go. GeForce drivers. It's going to be a little small for you. Apologize for that, but we can take it. Oh, we're still trying to get to that website. There we go. And we'll go through the process and see what the latest greatest is. Now, I don't want to do this. Don't do that, because that's going to get you the NVIDIA app, which interferes with vMix. But we're going to go to the 40 series. We're going to go to the 4070 Ti. Was it the Ti or the Ti Super? It was the Ti Super. Okay, so let's go back to the Ti Super. Windows 11. Download type game ready driver. vMix says that's the one that they would prefer to use. And there we go. Version 581 is the latest greatest as of yesterday. And the one that I had, 576 something, was from July. Actually, mine was older than that because it was May. So I want to download this one right now. And after the show, I'm going to update mine. So great question. Thank you very much. Yes, indeedy. There used to be something called NVIDIA GeForce Experience that I know interfered with vMix. But within the last year, they have discontinued, NVIDIA has discontinued Experience, and they now have something called the NVIDIA app, which I think is the same thing, but just renamed, maybe with some new features or something. I haven't talked to anybody about vMix about it lately, but my counsel is still, don't take the app. You don't need the app. You just need the driver. And so, in fact, if you've got a second, if this is downloaded, when it's finished and downloading, I'll show you how I install it. Yeah. Let's see. Otis says, oh, Tommy Willis. Do I have experience with NDI Bridge? I don't. I've always wanted to play with it and never gotten there. But it's a great question. But I'm interested in a way because I think that OMT, that thing right there, will, and am I freezing? Am I stuttering? Oh my gosh, what is going on here? Maybe it doesn't like all this downloading stuff. Anyway, Open Media Transport, which is the latest or the newest or the only version of, not version, but knockoff of NDI by vMix, may have things like that coming. Yeah. So let's see. All right, well, let's go back to our screen here, our screen capture, and let's fire up in our downloads 581. I don't ever keep the old ones because I think, yeah, they're just too big. I don't want them hanging around. So let's fire up that rascal and see what we get. Because there are a couple of tips here that will, I mean, you don't want stuff on your PC that you don't need. And so let's do that. So this is specify the folder where the drivers, yeah, just put them in the temp folder for now. Please wait while the files are saved for your computer, and when complete, the driver installation will start. Okay, well, we'll watch that roll up. And this is the easy part because you don't have to do anything. You can go get a cup of coffee or, you know, something with sugar in it like me. And pow. 90%, 100%. And now that little thing pops up. Here's trick number one. It says NVIDIA graphics driver and the NDI app. Well, I don't want the NDI app. There's nothing there that I need. What I do need is the graphics driver. So it's like, okay, agree and continue. Now, do I want the Express installation? No, I want the custom installation. Next. And I want to not take that driver and not take that software and do a clean install. That's really important there. Sometimes Windows, if your driver gets too far out of date, Windows will update it for you. This will take a second, so I'm going to come back and join you. And when Windows does that, it does it with a driver that is probably more recent than yours, but not the latest greatest. Right now, we are forcing an update of the latest greatest. So you don't